Hello, welcome to a build showcase between the Dwarves and the Greenskins. Now this is going to be more of a deep analysis rather than a casting of the game. So instead of going by the moment-to-moment gameplay, I will be spoiling some bits here and there. And to start off, this is a game where the Dwarves do actually win the battle against the Greenskins. And I think that is due to the many changes to the units on both sides. For the gyrocopters, they do fire much more easily now. Instead of, they take less time to stop moving before they shoot. And this will make them a lot easier to use for kiting against various targets. The Dwarf Iron Breakers got a bit more melee attack, actually I think 4 and 5 on the ROR. Plus the Master Engineers can now restock ammunition on the gyrocopters and the Iron Breakers. For the Greenskins, there are fewer fanatics now. And not only that, the Greenskin skirmishers are going to be more expensive, but they do have stronger chariots. So I think it's more likely you'll be seeing those. Now for actual micro, you can see my opponent here, Alfredino. His goal is to try and shut down the gyrocopters by positioning his skirmishers directly underneath them so that I cannot dodge with them. As for myself, I will be dodging as much as possible and counting the seconds between the volleys of goblin fire so that I know about when to dodge. After that, it's mostly just a task of taking out the chariots, since the Iron Breakers will do fairly well against Black Orcs, even winning as long as they're not getting hit by the chariots. Now my composition for gyrocopters is going to be 4 brimstone guns and 1 steam gyrocopter. And the reason I have the steam gyro is to deal with goblins like this, as the steam gyros will take them out quite quickly. Very good against nasty skulkers and fanatics if you do still see them, although there shouldn't be too many. Now for the brimstone guns, they're either focusing Azag or distracting him in this case, getting him to fly all the way to the opposite end of the map, or taking pot shots at skirmishers. Now this was not possible before, since shooting at skirmishers would run you out of ammunition, and you actually wouldn't have enough ammo to support the rest of your army. But now, as you can see, with the replenished ammunition on these gyros, they are now up to basically full again. It restocks about 1/3 of your ammo, and now I can shoot at the fanatics and push them a little bit further away. So very good there, although there is a misplay in the distance. I do let my gyrocopters get caught in melee against Azag, and they could have distracted him a little bit longer. But minor misplays aside, so far things are going pretty good, because without Azag here close to my main army, my gyrocopters can rather easily rout off these skirmishers for Alfredino. Now, the reason why I think this build is going to be pretty scary is because Alfredino actually did bring a fairly strong anti-gyrocopter build that likely would have worked in the meta that is live currently, just since my ammo would have run out and I wouldn't really have enough to weaken these Black Orcs at all. Azag is a very good anti-gyrocopter tool, but the fact that I come out on top at the end of this game means that it means that what was previously good anti-gyrocopter is no longer very good on Greenskins. We'll have to commit a little bit more, but there is a bit of theory crafting that a mass archer build could also give a box some trouble. So we'll see if that ever comes into play, but for now, it seems like the general skirmisher style is not working as well. Also important to note, for those of you unaware, fanatics do need to stay in melee for 15 seconds before they can throw out their fanatics, and that simply makes boxes much stronger, since no amount of fanatics is going to stay in 15 seconds of combat against Iron Breaker blasting charges. It is simply just much harder to do now, and that allows for this style to work. Now, right off the bat, as the main engagement gets going, my priority at the moment is to focus down these chariots. They are the main thing that will tip the fight in the balance for the Greenskins. So I actually do ignore Azag in this situation, except for the engineers, where Azag is basically the only target that they can shoot at easily, and they will be targeting him down. But otherwise, I'm generally trying to deal with chariots, although Of course, if an opportunity does come up, I will get some free shots at Azag, but it's not really fully worth it, as you will see in the end. Azag does manage to live after the focus fire, and perhaps I could have dealt with the chariots a little bit faster. But nevertheless, the blasting charges, they do go off, and you also want to consider replenishing ammunition on your blasting charges, as for any unit that does manage to use all of their blasting charges, it usually means they're in a good position to throw more, and of course the engineers are in a good position to help them out on that front. And just a few moments after the initial engagement, we are already seeing the Black Orcs routing off, and the chariots have barely been able to actually support this army. And given that my army is basically all iron breakers, the front line will hold essentially forever, and these Urkon miners will be able to go to town throwing as many blasting charges as they can. And after the first mass rout of the Greenskins, the game is essentially over, since really to go in for another engagement would mean eating another blasting charge volley, and any chariots that do come back do get focused down by the gyrocopters. And that's basically it. Thorek here does have his rune of speed only, just to boost the gyrocopters, but he's actually not very essential to this build. The extra speed on the gyrocopters is nice, but not exactly too important. You could probably go for a few other options to save on money, or to synergize better with the box. But nevertheless, the real winners here are these 5 gyrocopters and the master engineer. It seems like Greenskins will have to compensate quite a bit to deal with that, and in doing so, it will mean that it's likely going to be a pretty bad matchup for the Greenskins in the next meta that we will be going into. Taking a look at the values of the gyros, even though the skirmishers were bullying them a bit, they did manage to overall pay for themselves. And of course, the iron breakers were essentially unkillable once the chariots started routing off. So that's going to be it for today, but expect more build showcases in the future, where we go into some deep analysis on how to play the matchup and what to expect when playing the matchup, I guess.